you for both being here, and I will hand it off to you.
Thank you, Lexi, and thank you, Jen and Paula. We're so happy to be here talking to all of you in beautiful Hawaii. I think it's probably a little warmer there than it is here right now. I think we're going to go below zero this weekend. We're in Northeast Ohio, about 5,000 miles away from you. So thank you for being here. I'm just going to move over and share my screen. Go to slideshow. Okay. So we're here to talk about youth entrepreneurship and specifically the Young Entrepreneur Challenge, which is an activity we have it working with lots of after-school programs across the nation to implement. So we're going to talk about a little bit about who we are, what entrepreneurship is and why you do it, what the benefits are to the program, and we're going to offer you some great resources and then what the next steps will be. So Young Entrepreneur Institute, as I mentioned, we're in Ohio. We've been working on youth entrepreneurship for about 15 years, and our model for operation is a very collaborative one. We work to build ecosystems to support youth entrepreneurship, and we serve educational organizations in school, out of school, anyone who has a group of kids by providing professional development and helping programs select what's going to be the best academic option to be able to support experiences in youth entrepreneurship and the support for those activities. So we're going to start with a little exercise for you. This is one we love to do with our kids when we start a workshop. It's just a way to get those creative wheels turning in your mind. And so along with this activity, we're going to introduce a tool that you guys may already be using in your distance learning environments. But this is something that is a fun way to get every student's voice heard. And it can be called Waterfall, or it can be called Chat Storm. So if you can locate the chat box in your Zoom window. And so once I tell you what the activity is, I want you to put your answer in, but don't press go until we say to. So you're not going to enter your answer until we all say at once. Everyone I'll do it at once. So in this activity, we're going to think outside the box about the use for an everyday object. And in this case, it's shoes. So when we do this with students, we'll invite them to start out by saying, what are some of the things that we use shoes for? Why do people wear shoes? So for this one, you can hit enter right away, but do you just want to type out, or you can shout out, what are some uses for shoes? And Kelly, I'll have to rely on you to read from the chat box because I don't have a chat box showing on my screen when I'm in presentation mode. But so what are some uses? Anyone? Why do we wear shoes?
Great. We've got hold water for emergencies, exercise, key holder at the gym, fly swatter, football, keep your feet clean, protect your feet, keep them safe, roach killer. That's a new one. Safety.
I love what I'm hearing, and you guys jumped right into the creativity, which tells me that you already have a head start on your entrepreneurial mindset. So that's fantastic. So let's take a minute for now to everyone can contribute some more ideas about things you could do with a shoe that are not protecting your feet, exercising, or enhancing performance. But there are some great idea starters that Kelly read already. So I'm going to give you 5 seconds more to type in your answer into the chat of what you would do with a shoe that's not wearing it. So 5, 3, 2, 1, go ahead and waterfall. Enter on your chat.
Great. I'll go back to some of the ones. Roach killer, placeholder, basketball, door stopper, exercise, style, run faster, make art, collect, safekeeping, dog toy, decorate it, admire it, flower pot, to throw, placeholder.
Excellent. So when we were doing this with kids, we can either go to 10, or if it's a really creative group, we might say, how many can you think up in a minute? We might write them up on the board or just count off on our fingers. So, there are a lot of different ways that you can do this. And it's a fun exercise to adapt. You can do it multiple times with the kids on different days. Like you could use, sometimes we'll do this with like a plastic shopping bag. What are the different things you could do with it? So you could substitute different items, and it's all about just getting the kids to think creatively. which is a big part of this kind of activity. It's important to get that, get them really comfortable in the creative environment.
And the last one that just came in was a tape dispenser. I have not heard that one. So that's sort of a fun idea.
That's great. I love that almost every time we teach this exercise, we get something new. So that's great. Good job. Good creative thinking, everyone. So Kelly, I'll turn it over to you now.
Sounds great. Well, I think some of you probably have been introduced to some entrepreneurship activities and great things from Venture Lab in the past. And we work very closely with them and really are so proud of what they do and all the great curriculum they have. But we talk about, entrepreneur, it's sort of a hard word to say, it's a hard word to spell, but we like to think of it as the entrepreneurial mindset. And we like to see it as people and kids and people who are innovating things. They're taking problems and coming up with opportunities. And really in these times and these days right now, we all have to have the entrepreneurial mindset because we're all thinking outside the box. We're all taking what's happening in our lives, our community, our world, taking those problems, turning them into opportunities, pivoting, looking at things from a different perspective. So we all have to have the entrepreneurial mindset. So along with Venture Lab, we always say it's not just about starting companies, it's about having a vision and making it a reality. It's a way of thinking that can be learned and practiced. And, along with the mindset go entrepreneurship skills. And we always crack up because we think skills for the 21st century, and believe it or not, these kids are going to be alive in the 22nd century. So I read an article the other day on the 100-year career, and I thought that was pretty scary. But but thinking of these skills like creativity and teamwork, idea generation, collaboration, design thinking, public speaking are just life skills that will carry these kids on for great future. Next slide. Yeah, and so when you think of entrepreneurial mindset, you think of businesses, but we have found that a lot of the kids love the social or political initiatives. And I could just think of a couple off the top of my head. We had one girl in an after-school program, and her school did not have art. So what she wanted to do was come up with an art van that would travel from school to school and offer art classes for kids in schools that didn't have art. Sort of a really neat idea, a girl, thinking about her community and what she liked. And then another example is there are kids from someplace where they had poor hygiene in another country, and they came up with a song for kids to sing about washing themselves and brushing their teeth and doing that and making it fun for kids that needed just to learn about better hygiene. And we had another one that was a winner in our past pitch challenge, where the girl had made a backpack that encompassed a sleeping bag for homeless people so that they could wear it on their back, and then the sleeping bag just rolled out of it. So it's just amazing to see what these kids can come up with in terms of helping their community. This was actually the Ohio After School Network did a focus group last summer with some high school kids, just talking about entrepreneurship, trying to learn about what they thought of it. And, they learned a lot of them had misconceptions about entrepreneurship, and they felt like they were limited by age or by means. And so, we love to spread the word that it's youth voice is so important, and you can be any age to be a problem solver and have a youth voice. And you don't need a lot of money these days to do any of these things. So they were also interested in experience and learning about entrepreneurship and wanted to meet entrepreneurs, especially ones that were young. So not older people like me, but people, we've got entrepreneurs out there that are 8 and 12 and 25. And, so entrepreneurs that are a little bit closer to their age. And also felt it was a great fit with out of school time and after school programs. Just a nice time to dive into some of these activities, have great conversations, learn from others, and experience entrepreneurship. So these are some of the hard skills and soft skills that some of these entrepreneurship activities. You can think about critical thinking, as we talked about, creative problem solving, and confident speaking, which is something kids need throughout their life. taking ownership of their life, learning to overcome adversity, self-confidence, and collaboration with others. So just great life skills. This was off of some research based off of LinkedIn Learning in 2019. And you can see the entrepreneurial mindset that they thought would help kids in their future. And creativity, persuasion, collaboration, adaptability, and time management were the top 5 soft skills needed. So we think, and hope you think, that entrepreneurial activities are fun and they're engaging. It's a chance for these kids really to explore their passion, think about things that they like, how they want to help people, how they want to help their communities. And it's engaging, it's hands-on activities, experiential, so fun for the kids. And a compliment, if you're already doing some STEM in your after-school programs, or STEAM, or robotics, or anything, really entrepreneurial can weave into any sort of type of program that you're doing. And Venture Lab has a lot of these great activities that you can throw into there. And there's also a lot of fun things to do, like added extras, like, one after school program went to an art museum and did a creativity exercise. So lots of like field trips and speakers and just different things that you can do with entrepreneurship. So this is our ignition or mission statement. We believe that every child should understand and experience entrepreneurship, and that's whether or not they become an entrepreneur.
So the way we accomplish this is bringing these kinds of opportunities to educators and to kids. And so this is a screen capture off of our website. On our resource section of our website, you can access information about all of these different programs. So they include things like we have a folder full of research about entrepreneurship education. The Speakers Bureau is a resource that some of the people, these are all adults who are willing to virtually attend your program and give their story about their journey, answer questions, and they're fun for Q&A. Because of the time difference, probably our Northeast Ohio speakers may not be a good fit for Hawaii, but this is a model that is really, it's easy to replicate. And so we could help you identify people in your community that would be great aspirational models, I guess, for your kids, and fun to hear about. It's always nice if you have kids with a certain specific interest, it's nice to find someone in the community whose ventures may align with that interest. We also have, in terms of professional development, we do educator retreats. We call them power hours now that they're virtual, and those are about monthly. We'll be talking about one of the upcoming one in a little bit. And then the Inspire Conference is an annual thing. We've actually had an Inspire Revisited in the summer as well. And because this is a virtual conference, it became virtual for COVID, but I think we'll always keep a virtual component in the future. And that's a great way to hear some internationally known speakers on topics related to 21st century teaching skills, or teaching 21st century skills. And then the Young Entrepreneur Market and Lemonade Day are both selling opportunities for kids to operate a micro business and get those hard skills of financial literacy and customer service. And then the Young Entrepreneur Pitch Challenge is what we're here to tell you a little bit more about today. So why entrepreneurship education? Kelly, do you want to talk about that?
Yeah, so just to reiterate again, as we said, not every child will become an entrepreneur, but we hope to instill that entrepreneurial mindset in them, preparing them for their 21st and 22nd century lives, and teaching these hard and soft critical skills that we were discussing, and developing the entrepreneurial mindset. So that's why we think it's important. And we have found throughout the past couple of years that there are a lot of benefits to the programs as well. We think it is fun. Jesse, do you mind switching the slide? Okay, fun for the kids. And we have really made our resources easy for you to do. You don't need to be an entrepreneur. You don't need to be a teacher. Just if you have enthusiasm and like to work with kids, you can definitely use our materials. The staff has enjoyed it. Actually, this is the April Alexander, who was with the Heart Reach Ministries, a faith-based after school program in Youngstown, Ohio. And they had a pitch challenge and a showcase, and actually 2 TV stations came and filmed them, and talked about what they were doing to set the entrepreneurial mindset on fire. And one of the things she said, Kelly, I didn't realize how much I would get out of it. And she said, because we work so much with kids and what passions they have and what they're good at and what they like. She said, I had no idea that one boy loved astronomy. So she just said that she learned so much from the kids through doing some entrepreneurial activities. And as we said, it's engaged learning because the kids are, talking and working on problems that they care about, and problems that are in their community, and passions that they have, things they like to do, then they're engaged in the process. And down the line, it also supports your college and career readiness efforts of the program in the district. And then in terms of community connections, it's kind of a fun way to connect with families in a new way. We did one program this summer with a group that did a 3-week summer camp. It wasn't all about entrepreneurship, but they did one night each week with the parents and the kids, like from 6 to 7. And so we did an entrepreneurship webinar with them and just had great conversations, great connection, and just talked to them about the entrepreneurial mindset and the skills. And it was just fun to hear from the parents and have them understand, what the kids were doing during the day in the camp. So, fun ways to connect with the families. Also, as I said, great way to engage with local business and as organizations, whether you're taking a tour or they're coming in to speak, or, they're talking about the processes that they went through. So it's a great way to engage with your community. And also, looking back on April, it was a great way for her to promote her after school program because she was in the news and had a great spotlight on her, and also supports program sustainability. So fun way to connect with your community.
So what is a pitch challenge? It's something we've been talking about a lot. And I gather that there's some of you that may already be doing some entrepreneurship in your program. So this may be a little bit review, but a pitch challenge is I'm going to show you a couple of past winning videos to let you know what we're talking about. But the challenge part is really about helping kids learn how to overcome the maybe rigid thinking, or they don't have access to the creativity they had when they were younger. Certainly with our younger kids, I think that it seems like the creativity comes more easily to them, but there's a lot of courage involved in being able to think of that better idea. So, we'll see some kids, they get to the robot or the app, and they're not pushing beyond that to think of really innovative solutions. And so this group of activities challenges them to really dig deep. And one of the big aha moments we see with the kids of all ages, which is so rewarding to see, is for them to start to think of themselves as a problem solver. And just the activity of going through trying to identify a problem in their community helps them start to think of themselves as a problem solver. I think so many kids are just not empowered to come up with solutions. They don't think that their ideas count. And this is just such a powerful exercise for youth voice because it gives kids the chance to think this way. And I think one of the things that's demonstrated in the next 2 pitches of 2 opposite ends of the spectrum in terms of age, that is these kids have found that spirit within themselves about being an excited and creative problem solver. So this pitch comes from a high school student. It's also very quiet.
Hi.
Sorry, so you'll have to turn up your volume.
I'm 17 years old and a senior at Shaker Heights High School. I'm also the 2017 Student Advocate of the Year for a national LGBT organization called GLSEN. Now, according to GLSEN, about 70% of LGBT teens at some point in one school year will avoid going to any school activities because they feel unsafe. Now, despite these sobering numbers, only about 50% of LGBT teens who have ever faced any type of abuse in schools ever report it to school administrators because they don't feel safe. Now, that's something that we're trying to change, which is why I created a nonprofit organization called Our Space. Our Space is an educational resource network providing queer youth with resources to advocate for change in their own communities. We're an entirely youth-led network, meaning that this is a for youth, by youth project, so that when young people reach out to us, they know that they're being met with kids just like them from different school districts who understand what they're going through. The second advantage of RSpace is it provides youth with a streamlined database of information so that they have everything that they need at the tip of their fingers. The third advantage of RSpace is that it provides students with not only physical resources, but also human beings. To find more information about RSpace, visit our website at rspace.net. And please, while you're there, consider contacting your legislators and encouraging them to create model policies so that students don't always have to be the ones doing this work.
All right, so there's a high school winning pitch. This next one is a kindergarten winning pitch. Just to give you this is an activity that we enjoy doing with students of all ages. So everyone can participate. This one will not be quite as quiet, so you can turn down your volume a little bit.
Let me be your big sister. I'm an only child, and I know what it's like when there's no one around to play with. Here's the deal. If you're 3 to 5 years old, you and your mom can meet me and my mom at a park, library, or museum. I'll be the best big sister ever. We can read, paint, play chess or checkers, do gymnastics, slide, swing, and play in the monkey bars. Fun guaranteed. Let me be your big sister.
That's one of my favorite pitches. I love her. So these give some examples of the kinds of things that kids will come up with through this process. And so it can be, both of these are solving problems in that are really personal to these kids. So we've got, so what we did was in Northeast Ohio, we've been doing a video pitch contest, although a lot of our, some of our participating programs don't use it as a competition, they just use it as a way to showcase youth voice. So the students record a video of their pitch, and we had, just as an example, last year we had 1,750 entries. So there's a high level of engagement with this activity in Northeast Ohio. And so over the years of supporting this contest, we came up with a simple set of exercises that would help educators go from the A to Z of this process. And so if you sign up for our free toolkit, you'll get access to a Google folder that this is a screenshot of what that looks like. So it includes sample pitches and videos to support the content. It's got 3 different guides. I'll just click ahead for a minute. These are the 3 different PDFs in there. And so there's one about teaching, one about hosting an event. So if you wanted to do a showcase in your program, it's got all the information you'd need to do that. And then the worksheets are separated out into a separate document so that you can just pull those out. And now to support distance learning better, each of the worksheets is also available in the PDF form where you can fill it out online in a digital format. So going back up here, so we also have support materials to communicate out to your constituents. So, postcards you can send home, a flyer you can stick up on the wall in your program, things that you can use to get the word out to the community about what's going on in your program. And so the website that you go to click to sign up for that is yepitch.com. So we designed this with every person in mind to teach it. We've had high school students teach it. We've had college students teach it. And we've had people teach it who are, they're not trained educators. They just, they're people who work with youth. And so you don't have to be an entrepreneur and you don't have to be a teacher. We tried to make it really super easy. But we also are fully available to provide any kinds of professional development support that might be useful as well, and to give you some best practices. So it includes the planning tools, and it's fun, easy, and effective. So this is kind of the high level view of what it looks like. There are 5 lessons. The first 3 lessons is where all the critical thinking is happening. So they are spending 1 lesson working on problem identification. The business opportunity is the solution identification. So as far in the process of design thinking, identifying a problem and identifying a solution are routinely separated because it usually yields more creative answers. And so that's why we separated them out here. So I know in your program, you may not be thinking of this in terms of a business opportunity. You may be thinking of it more in terms of solution identification. And so just this, that's how you'd interpret the language here in the labels. And then the third step would be putting the content together of the presentation. Then we always want to highlight the importance of the practicing. And so we make that, it's a whole event that can be an opportunity to bring in adults from the community or young adults from the community to work with the students, to give them that chance to practice in front of a live audience and get some coaching on the quality of their presentation. And then the final event would be, it could be your in-person showcase, it could be your real-time on Zoom showcase, it could be submitting a video into some broader showcase that might, there might be an opportunity to do that in the future. So that's the basics of the curriculum, and each, as you'll see in each one of the different days, there's a warm-up, there's a main activity, and then there's also an opportunity for the kids to practice their pitching. It might be they're just drawing a random subject from a card, a deck of cards that you've created for them, or they could be practicing a scripted pitch just to get their some of their presentation skills more honed. So we think that every time they come together, the more they can practice with public speaking, the more comfortable they become with it, and the easier and less intimidating it'll be for them. So that each different day in this process follows that same structure. And like Kelly talked about, the great Venture Lab content, we've integrated our activities in with Venture Lab content. So they're places, this is something you could easily do in a week, or you could do it every Friday for 5 weeks. You could expand it way out if you want and spend more time on entrepreneurship content. And that's why we included links out to Venture Lab. So we have areas where we call them extensions of the work that you could bring in some additional activities. So the other one is how to host. And so this is, like Kelly talked about, April Alexander at Heart Reach Ministries. She did a great job with creating a community showcase. So the kids were presenting from poster boards in the gymnasium, and people came in from the community to interact with them. And we'll talk a little bit more about that. But that kind of event is something, all of the support that you'd need to put on something like that is here, including how do you communicate it out, how do you go through the gratitude campaign, everything start to finish. What does that look like for hosting an event? So for some showcase ideas, this is something, it's a great Lights On After School, or it's a great National Summer Learning Week event where it's an opportunity to really showcase and lift up the work that's happening in your program within your community. So it's a fun way for the kids to get that exposure, and also for your program to be elevated. So they can practice their pitching. You could do a non-competitive pitch event where the certain kids who are interested in doing so can present to some adults or some young adults who would give them feedback on their presentations. In some showcases, there will be an opportunity for students who wish to operate a micro business. They might have made something in the Fab Lab as part of a STEM project. They could operate a micro business during the showcase. Some other ideas separate from the showcase, although these could be used as ways to publicize the program and the work that's going on in it. We've seen music integrated into entrepreneurship activities. Kelly talked about the students that were doing the song to promote hygiene. That was in an African country. And then we've also got kids doing other kind of things with music videos, or other ways to tell a story through music. Public service announcements are another project that we've seen happen well in after school, where the kids are working on identifying a problem in the community and making a presentation to inform the public either about the problem or recommendations on some actions that they could take. So if they're talking about water shortages or clean water, they might have some recommendations on how people can be more responsible with their water use. And then storytelling, of course, is also public speaking, and it's also a skill that is very much interwoven into the ability to pitch. And your pitch, could even be thought of as pitching yourself. So, our college and career readiness programs with our teens, learning how to talk about yourself in a confident way and what kind of information to include in that conversation, really, that's creating a pitch about yourself. So any kind of storytelling fits well into this as well. So along the lines of story, there are a couple different methods that are showcased in our toolkit of how to structure a pitch. But of course, the information could be structured in many, many different ways. These are just some ideas of how to do it. And so the story spine is a great storytelling way to structure the content. And I'm looking at the time right now. I think we've got some time to play with this a little bit. So this is an activity that is also named the Pixar pitch. If you think about a favorite Pixar movie and think about this structure, you could tell most Pixar movies in exactly this structure. And it's actually has been used to pitch movies, pretty much every Pixar movie, I am told, by people that we work with in California. This is the structure they follow in pitching a Pixar storyline. So it starts with once upon a time, building, so you set the stage every day. This has been happening, but one day something different happened. And then because of that, a series of changes happened in our protagonist or in our plot line until finally, then we get a lesson teaching event. And ever since then, and this is what the pivot looks like. And so I'd like to try out, when we do this with kids, to warm them up, sometimes we'll have them maybe group up and use this structure to tell a familiar story, or if they're familiar with any Pixar movies, they might want to pick a favorite movie that they could then use this structure and practice what it feels like. But then I throw it out to them to just create a story off the top of their heads, but each person will create a different line. So I'm going to ask Kelly and Jen, I guess maybe both, to keep an eye on everybody on your tiles. I can't see the tiles because of my screen here, but I would like to get people to each contribute a line. So would you like to, I guess, Jen, you probably see some familiar faces, so maybe I'll ask you to do this. So we're going to start and call on someone and fill in, say once upon a time, and then fill in the rest of the line. And then we'll go to the next person until we get a full story here. So, all right. So Jen, who's going to start?
Can I ask Tiana Long to start us off?
Yes, of course. So I'll just put it into the chat box, correct?
Oh, sure. You can do it that way. Absolutely.
Or I could totally talk to, once upon a time, there was a teacher who.
Okay. And who's next?
How about Ariane Hall?
You can reiterate what's said so far, or you can just go on with every day. So every day is your line. So what did the teacher do every day? Can we hear Ariane? Do you want to type instead? Do you pick someone else? Or are you getting it? Are you getting it?
Ariane wrote, every day the teacher lined up her kids in the front of the class.
All right. But one day, who's next, Jen?
Sherry Iha, would you like to go next? Sherry, are you there?
You You can say it or type it. Oh, I can't see the chat box. That's cool.
Maybe we'll go with Shanti. Would you like to go?
So, but one day.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Mhm.
All right.
Yep.
But one day there was this kid that was new.
All right. Kelly, do you want to type that line into the chat so we've
Yep.
got the story in there?
Yes.
Okay. One day there was this kid that was new. Because of that, Jen, who's next?
Tosa.
Hello. Because of that, she felt as if she felt as if she
Don't belong.
This is hard. Yeah. Okay. She felt that because of that, she was confused because she wasn't told that she had a new student. Okay. There you go.
And because of that, Jen, who's next?
Joselle.
And because of that, she was so confused and thrown off her game that she lined them up in the back of the class.
Giving Kelly a minute to type. And because of that, who's going to be next? Give them some time to think.
Bryn, would you like to go next?
This is a tough one. Do I type it into the chat or just speak it?
Either way.
So because of that, she was so confused that she lined him up in the back of the class.
And because of that.
And because of that, she lost track of the new student.
She lost track of the new student. And sometimes I'll say, sometimes when I'm doing this with students, especially with a big group, we might do more because of that, just to move the story into new territory. But in the interest of time, we're going to go with until finally. So until finally, who's going to go next, Jen?
Cody.
She had to call the principal to assist her in finding her student.
All right. She had to call the principal. All right. And so our lesson, and ever since then, who's going to do the last one, Jen?
Let's go with Nettie.
And ever since then, the teacher never got a teaching job.
What happened to her in the teacher?
And ever since then, the teacher, what?
Never had a teaching job again.
Oh, never had a teaching job.
This story's a tragedy. All right. Well, good job. Everyone, a round of applause.
Well done.
So this is a fun way. Now, I think you've seen very much firsthand the kind of challenge of creativity that, you know, being put on the spot and trying to think things through. You know exactly how your students will feel, you know, when they first start pushing in those creative boundaries. But it gets lots easier when I've had time to really spend time on this exercise. The kids get better and better and better, and it's really fun. You guys did a great job. So All right. So next I want to move on to, oh, hold on. I'm in the chat now. Okay. That work? Yep. All right. So now we'd like to, oh, you know what? Actually, before we go on to talking about our entrepreneurship resources, Jen has a poll or two. I don't know. We're going to do some polling.
Okay, I'm going to launch the first poll. So you just are curious if you're interested in incorporating pitching into your program. And so you can say if you're interested in doing this summer or next school year, or maybe just aren't sure about the timing or undecided.
That may be everybody now because there won't be, Kelly and I won't be replying.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Actually, I can see the results, but I guess it's because I'm a co-host. Did you want to share the results or not at this time?
Everyone can see the poll, right?
I don't know if they can see the results until you do share results. Oh, maybe you guys can, and I just can everyone see the results?
Not yet. Has everyone voted?
The numbers seem right. Yeah.
I'm not sure. It says no one has voted in the poll.
Oh, so mine shows that I've got votes. That's interesting. I don't know why mine would show anything different from yours. I show 25 people voted, and I see the results on my screen of the voting.
The results
Okay.
are showing
Yeah.
That's interesting.
I guess can you people show a thumbs up on your screen if you're seeing the results? Okay.
Can I ask Lexi, do you mind taking a screenshot of the results before
Good idea.
someone catches it? Great, thank you. Okay. Figuring out this poll thing. Okay. So the next one is if you're interested in also doing a showcase in your program. So this is kind of, that culminating event where you do all their pitching activities and then you have like an event to showcase all your kids' different pitches.
We need 2 more people to have the same number of votes as last time. No, now it's out of 26, so maybe we only need 1 more person.
And it looks like most people have voted.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. I will share results. I'm not sure why I see like no one has voted. So I just thought people didn't like our poll questions.
And maybe something funny happens with it when there are multiple hosts.
Okay. And then the last poll is if you would be interested in having a statewide pitch showcase or challenge that we could help coordinate. So your youth can show their pitch off to other people across the state. And let me know once most people have voted.
We're at 22 out of 26. So
Got 23 out of 20.
We got 23.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll end the poll and share results.
That's great. That's very helpful.
All right, those were our 3 poll questions. Thank you all for participating, and I look forward to seeing your responses later.
All right. So next we're going to share some free resources, and then we're going to open it up to a little bit of a question and answer. So Kelly?
Sure, sounds good. Thanks, Jessie. We have a ton of stuff on our website. So if you guys want to check that out, you can go to youngentrepreneurinstitute.org. Just 1 dot. Looks like we put 2 dots in there. But anyway, and we have distance learning resources. We have the speakers Jessie was talking about. We have different things that will filter it out. So say you had a 4th grade group and you wanted to do a camp, or you wanted to do get a speaker. You can filter it out by your age group and what you're doing. So that's just a great resource. So feel free to, look around on our website a bunch. We have a lot of good videos and just different things that might interest you, and a lot of links to other resources, not just our resources that are out there. As we've talked about, we're great partners and we love Venture Lab. So venturelab.org has great resources and curriculum for you, and it's grade level banded. So you can pop in and that's free of charge for you. Jessie talked about the Pitch Challenge Toolkit, and that's at yepitch.com. Again, just a free registration, pretty simple form that you can fill out. And then she also talked about, we are having a power hour on empathy, and that is February 18th, which is next Thursday at 11:30 a.m. your time. And in the past, those are also on our website. So we've done creativity, social entrepreneurship, leadership. So there's lots of great resources on there, and it's just an hour packed with different resources, and this one in particular on empathy. And I mentioned that distance learning, including a video library. So feel free to pop on our site, on the Venture Lab site, and you can sign up for the Power Hour free hour on our website as well.
I think one thing I'd just like to emphasize, in addition to that information about the resources, it says free up at the top, but I do want you to know there is so much great free resources out there for teaching entrepreneurship or entrepreneurship activities in the classroom. There is no need to be reinventing the wheel or paying a lot of money to do this. There's lots and lots of good free stuff out there. And so that's the purpose of our website and the resources we've created, is to help connect you with the right free resources to achieve your objectives.
Absolutely. And, if anybody pops on and wants to learn more about any of our resources, Jessie and I are available to consult individually free of charge, with your program. If you'd say, I'd like to try this or do that, or this is what I'm looking for, we're happy to try to direct you into the right direction.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. So I'd like to, we've got a few more things there. That's basically what Kelly just said. We have one other activity we could do, but I want to make sure we have a chance to answer your questions first. So if we get done with answering questions and we have time left, we've got one more activity we can do. But questions, you can either physically raise your hand and we'll keep an eye out for you. You can unmute yourself, or you can type it into the chat. So let us know what we can answer for you. All right, well, why don't, let's go ahead and do that other activity. And if you think of a question while we're working on that, please go ahead and type it into the chat, okay? So let me step back in the presentation here. Oh, hold on. With the wrong thing. Let's see, there we go. Okay, Kelly?
Sounds good. Sure. This is an activity called 30 circles. And if you just Google it, it's something that's sort of out in the public domain. It's not an activity that we came up with. So if you guys all just have a piece of paper or any sort of scrap handy around your desk or there, if you could just take that out, and even though I say 30 circles, we'll tone it down. Let's do like 16 circles, like 4 across and 4 down. So if you just take a minute to do 16 circles on a piece of paper, that would be awesome. So this is a creativity exercise that helps go beyond sort of creativity barriers. And it really is helpful for adults and kids to just think and dig deeper into ideas so that they can come out with the best ideas and more ideas. So now that you have your 14 circles on a piece of paper, I would just love you to turn your blank circles, as many as possible, into recognizable objects. So I'll give you a couple minutes. I'll just throw out, you know, like a sun, or on here a pea or a sunflower, or an umbrella. So, oh, thanks, Jesse. So if you just take, we'll do just like 2 minutes and just make your circles into something. And then I'd love to see some of the circles and what you guys have done. Looks like you guys are working hard. I like it. All right, why don't we say time's up? Even if you haven't finished, you can stop drawing in your circles. Does anybody want to hold up or say what they made, or type it in the chat box? While we're doing that, you can think about, you know, looking for the quantity or fluency of the ideas. You know, how many people filled in all of the circles? A lot of times people don't get to filling in all the circles. Let's see what you guys drew. Oh, I see some baseballs. I see like a racket, a peace sign, a sun, flower, bicycle. So that's another question. You know, how many people think outside the box and combine the circles? Did you feel like you were breaking the rules? Did you feel like the rules were explicit? So lots of different concepts that you can talk to the kids about. Do the kids, let me read a couple in here. Watermelon, pie, headphones using 2 circles, clock, smile emoji, snowman, earrings, ice cream cone. So lots of great ideas. But then you can also talk to the kids, you know, where a lot of the ideas, kind of the same ideas, like was it a basketball, a baseball, a soccer ball, or did they think outside the box and do a sunshine and then a turtle and a train with 3 circles hooked together? Because when you think about it, you know, if you're doing a lot of different things, there's a lot of ideas to choose from. If the kids do, you know, one kind of theme, then there's not quite as many ideas to choose from. So here's even more: flowers, smiley faces, yin yang elephant, snowman. So thank you guys for participating. We certainly appreciate it. And we certainly appreciate you having us today. Is there any other questions, anything you can think of? And you can also contact Jesse and I, can put our emails in the chat, and you can feel free to shoot us an email. As we said, we are available to you via Zoom, via email, via phone. We have a little bit of a time difference, but we are happy to help whenever you need it. So feel free to contact us. We look forward to working with all of you.
Well,
I see Sherry said fruit. We had someone in a workshop made the whole group into a bunch of grapes. So that's one of the ways to combine them all. I don't know if that's what you're talking about, but of course it would also, I think I did apples, peaches, pears one time.
Yeah. And then somebody did a train or something one time where they made like a train going through. I thought the pea was kind of a fun one, some pea pods.
I was thinking someone could do all the different emojis in the
Yeah,
in the circle.
Mhm.
that's true too.
Well,
Yeah,
I see we're at
that's
4
just-
o'clock.
Right. That's just 30 circles if you want to Google it. You know, it's out there on the web. Yeah.
So I'll turn it back over to Jen since we're at 4 o'clock. Thank you so much. It's been lots of fun working with you today.
Yes, thank you, Kelly and Jesse,
you
and I
all.
invite all of you to give a virtual round of applause or to put in the chat, just like thank you both for taking the time to talk with us and share your really awesome resources and activities. Tosi, you asked if we could take a photo. Go for it. Are you taking a screenshot?
Yes, I'm gonna take a screenshot because we add this to our highlights. So just so everyone has one. Shout out to everyone. I'll send it to everyone. But if you guys could all smile, put on your beautiful faces. This is what I do with the kids every day. Camera's on, guys. I will call you out if your camera is not on. Just kidding. Just kidding. If your camera can't turn on, that's cool too. We're good. We're good. But it is Aloha Friday, guys. So let's, start that movement. Okay. All right, guys, shakas, whatever you want to give, smiles, peace signs, whatever it is. Oh, yes, Sarah, bust out your stick. Okay, ready? The count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Hey, thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Appreciate you.
Happy Friday, all of you, and maybe a long weekend, right?
Thank you, everybody. See you next week.
We look forward to hearing from you.
Thank you.